our time over to him.
Okay. My name is Justice Swenson. I'm a safety professional with the Workers' Compensation Fund, or WCF Insurance. We're your work comp insurance carrier. And so my job is to come out with our policyholders, which you guys are, and try to prevent workplace injuries. I was here a couple months ago and we talked about driving safety, and today we're going to talk about heat-related disorders. Apparently you won't have to worry about it this weekend. Maybe this is wishful thinking, but I'm going to talk a little bit about what heat-related disorders are and what you can do to recognize them and what you can do to prevent them. Okay? So what we're looking at is outside. It can be inside, but does anybody here have a work task where they're inside and it's either high humidity or really high temperatures inside? Do you have one?
That's three.
Okay. So that's might be one. So high air temperatures, a lot of times in the summer it's going to be outside. Okay. Radiant heat sources. Okay. Radiant heat means things that put out heat. Okay, like the sun. Say that again.
Ovens.
Ovens. Yeah. Yep. Ovens. Things like that. Things that put. Okay. High humidity. Thank goodness we don't. Has anybody ever been somewhere with high humidity and you walk out of the airport and it's like it slaps you in the face, right? Thank goodness we don't have to deal with that. But sometimes work environments, they intentionally make high humidity for certain processes. Direct physical contact with hot objects and strenuous physical work. Okay. Does anybody here do strenuous physical work outside in the summer? Mm-hmm. Or maybe you could and you just don't anticipate it. So those are kind of what you want to be on the lookout. So if you're going to be doing any of those things, that's when heat-related illnesses is going to come up the most. So why is heat hazardous, or the heat-related illnesses hazardous to employees or to people? So how many know what's your temperature of your body? 98.6, give or take just a little bit. Okay? If you're sick, it's higher or lower, but some people are naturally but about 98.6 degrees. Everybody knows that? Okay? And that's where our body likes to be. Okay? So what does our body do if we get hot?
Sweat.
Okay? It sweats. And what else happens to your skin? Your cheeks.
Sunburn.
Okay? But when you get hot, they turn red. So that's another thing. So if the air temperature is below your body temperature, then circulation, they put more blood out close to the edge, and just the temperature can cool it down, and then sweat. Okay? So sweat, when you're sweating, it evaporates and it takes the heat away from your body. So whenever you're in a position where either the humidity is so high that sweat won't evaporate. Has anybody ever been in a steam room or in a high humidity area? And the sweat does not cool you down because it's not evaporating. Okay? Or if the ambient temperature is higher than your body, then taking the heat, the circulation out to your skin, that's not going to help. Okay? So when your body gets too much heat and can't get rid of it, it has to try to store that heat. Okay? What happens to your body when it starts storing heat? Anybody know?
It starts impacting the processes and systems of chemistry.
Yes, really bad things happen. Okay? And we'll talk about some of those symptoms. Okay? So when your body can't regulate your temperature and it's hot and it's trying to get, okay? And how much energy, well, we'll talk about this. So heat stroke is when your body starts trying to store the heat because it can't get rid of it. Okay? So heat exhaustion Okay? Does anybody here know the difference between heat exhaustion and heat stroke? If someone has heat stroke, how dangerous is it? Life-threatening, right now. Okay? Heat exhaustion, you can prevent that from going into heat stroke. Once you get into heat stroke, you're looking at they're dying right now. Okay? So, in the summertime, I'm what's called a player safety coach for Little League football. And I go around and talk to football coaches about heat issues training with Little League. And we tell them that if they're practicing on hot days, wherever they're practicing, if they don't have access to cold water and ice, they need to bring it with them. So a lot of times we actually say, please go knock on the neighbor's door and say, hey, if we get a kid that has heat exhaustion, can we use... Because what's going to happen before the paramedics get there or any kind of... If it's heat exhaustion, there's not going to be a lot they can do by the time someone gets there. They got to be cooled down now. Okay, so it can... heat stroke. Life-threatening, rapid rising temperature, okay? And so, symptoms, hot, dry, red skin, rapid, your heart rate goes up. Because what does your body, one of the things it does to cool down is that it circulates your blood, kind of trying to get it outside, so it's going to speed up the heart. Okay? And then you're eventually going to lose consciousness. Okay? And another symptom, how much energy does it take for your body to sweat? Lots of energy. Okay, your body starts shutting down, and it knows that sweating is not doing the job. It's not evaporating to cool you down. So what does your body, what function does it? It stops. Okay, it stops that function. It's like that's wasted energy. Okay, so if someone, is having a hard time breathing, it's really red, it stops sweating, it's emergency time. Okay? Must seek medical treatment and quickly cool the body. Okay? So what are the heat stress factors? We've talked about this before. Temperature and how high the humidity is. Okay? Your clothing. Okay? What does dark colored clothing do in the sun? We all know. It absorbs more heat. It's going to make you hotter. Okay? Now, how many of you guys like that dry weave t-shirts now that you can get? It's kind of cooling. It lets the heat come out away from you. Okay? Those things are, they actually help in these type of situations. Okay? Airflow. When we talk about airflow, the reason we talk about airflow is to help the evaporation of the sweat. Okay? Some other things that affect heat stress is how healthy you are. How good can your body do its job? Because if you're already kind of sick or have other health problems, it's not going to be able to regulate the temperature. Okay? So genetics. Does anybody know someone that sweats more than average? That stinks more than average, but okay. Sweats more than average. Okay. I wrestled in college, and a guy that was my drill partner, by 5 minutes into practice, I would slide right off me. But his body did a really good job at regulating temperature. Okay? So, and actually, the more physical fit you are, you can train your body to sweat more. Okay? And be more efficient at cooling down. Diseases, medication, age, all has factors on heat stress. Okay, conditioning and acclimate. See, I'm in front of people with the camera. I have a hard time saying this word. It's to acclimate to your surroundings. Okay. When it starts to get hot, you're not used to it. Anybody now have been outside extended period of times and it's like 75 is what it's been getting to, and you're, whew, it's hot. Okay? And what are you going to feel like in August when it's 75?
It's on, it's 160, it should fall.
Okay, so what happens is our body gets used to regulating our temperature. And in fact, if you are going to be doing outside work and you're going to be in the sun for extended periods of time or working where there's high heat or high humidity, you actually need to introduce your body a little bit at a time to that. Okay? And that's how you acclimate to it. And your body gets better and it gets used to it. But the first time or the second time, that's when there's a lot of danger involved because your body's not used to it and it can't regulate the temperature like it could if you were used to it. Okay? Same thing, anybody ever heard of someone going to a high elevation to train? Okay, because then they get lots of red blood cells in their blood. Then they go down to sea level and they can do a lot more physical activity because their body has a lot more oxygen. Same thing with heat. Okay? Your body gets used to it. Did anybody here play football? Okay. A lot of times now, the state actually, just for your awareness, how much is heat stress? Not real big deal in Utah, but across the country with high school football, college football, NFL football. It's a big deal. Okay, those are really big guys that have a lot of body to regulate the heat. And so when they start practicing outside in the summer, there's actually guidelines how long they can practice outside. So Box Elder High School or Bear River High School, when those athletes come this summer, start practicing football, the trainer is going to be involved on how long and how many days in a row those young men or young women, even the soccer players, can be outside doing this. Okay? And they're in really good shape. So my suggestion is if you have an outside job and you're going to be working a lot in the heat, just to take it a gradual process to be able to work out all day or work outside all day long. Okay? So you can get better at that. Okay? So, but before you get to heat exhaustion and heat stroke, you can get heat cramps. Okay? You get a lot of, you lose electrolytes, and that's what tells your muscles to not flex. Okay? And so when you lose those, your muscles don't unflex. Okay? So drinking, and before I put it up there, what's that drink everybody says that replaces electrolytes? Gatorade. Okay. Anybody know where Gatorade was made?
University of Florida.
University of Florida. Okay, they're the Gators. Okay. And what's the weather like in Florida? For humidity and heat. Yeah, exactly what we're talking about. Okay. In December, it's pretty nice. In July and August and in September, when those guys are out there playing football, they cramped a lot. Okay. And their best athletes with those big old muscles were cramping and they can't use them. So it does you no good to have those big, strong athletes if their muscles don't work. Okay, so they figured out it was an electrolyte thing. Okay. Now, some people, has anybody ever heard of salt tablets? Okay. You should probably only take salt tablets to replace electrolytes under direction of a physician. Okay. Most of us get plenty of sodium in our diet. So don't add those on your own. But I work with a lady, and she takes salt tablets, but she also does those 100-mile races in the mountains. Okay, so anyway, you can do that. Okay, heat syncope. Have you ever seen anybody and all of a sudden their body just doesn't work right? They have a hard time walking, moving. If it's a heat-related thing, yeah, don't point. Some people don't have heat syncope all the time. This is a rare occasion, okay? So, So if you see somebody that's really hot and they have a hard time moving and their agility is really messed up, it's called heat syncope. Okay? You got to cool them down and get them some drink. Okay? Skin rash, you can get hot. That's another one from heat. Okay? How do we measure heat stress? That first one says internal thermometer. Usually, that's not good to do at the workplace. So, anybody ever go hunting and a game warden stops you? Has they ever taken the temperature of the animal? Okay, because they can regulate, internally. That's the same thing. You can, but anyway, at work, when it comes to safety, like OSHA and safety professionals, we don't just use temperature, because this temperature tells us all we need to know about what the hazard is working outside. Is there a difference between 100 degrees in Florida and 110 degrees in Phoenix?
Yes.
Big difference, okay? So when we look at the temperature, we want to look at what the humidity is. What are the wind conditions? Because that will help with the evaporation. If there's a light wind, even if it's hot, that's going to help cool you down. Has anybody ever heard of the heat index? How direct is that sun on you? Okay, that makes a difference on how fast you'll heat up. So humidity, wind, the direct sunlight, all those are taken into account. And we have a little machine that safety guys use to determine a number that gives you relative heat. Okay? And it takes into account, like I said, humidity and the radiant heat and the wind speed. And with that, there are determinations to say how long you can work and how long you can rest. How long you can work, how long you can rest. For example, you're going to see a lot of it this summer. Okay? How hot is it in the middle of the day to be pouring asphalt? Really hot. So do you think it's important for those guys to know how long they can work and how long they have to rest, how long they can work? There's actually OSHA guidelines to determine that. So I don't know, does anybody here have a job task with the county where you have to determine work periods and rest periods? Something like that where there's the black heat, it's radiating heat, they're sweating a lot. They actually do take into account all that stuff. So what can you do to prevent heat-related illnesses? Drink lots and lots of water. How good is our thirst mechanism? Not real good. Okay? Lots of times, by the time we feel that thirst, we're already dehydrated. Okay? Most people, just so you know, most people walk around a little bit dehydrated. Okay? One thing that we do, and I'm not trying to pick on anyone because I drink caffeine too, what does caffeine make you do? It's a diuretic. What does that mean? It makes you pee. Okay? So it actually helps dehydrate you. Okay? So if you're going to drink it, drink lots of it.
We're good.
Plain cold water is the best. Alcohol, caffeinated beverages are diuretics. Gatorade and Powerade can help if you sweat a lot. Okay? If you're not sweating a lot, it's just excess calories. And then we talked about the salt tablets, or salt tablets. Wear lightweight, light-colored clothing. Does anybody here have jobs with the county that they work outside in the summer? Do you have a different work uniform in the summer versus the winter? So if you do, make sure it's breathable, and light color. Okay? Help people get acclimatized to the situations. Use rest breaks. Ventilation, fans help. Okay. Anybody ever been really, really hot, how much do you want to eat? No, you don't want to eat, okay? Because if you're hot, where does your body want to send all the blood?
Cool.
Okay, out to cool off. If you eat a lot of food, where does it send all the blood? Inside. If you're hot and you have a big meal, that you're going to heat up. So, avoid direct sunlight when possible. Do strenuous work during cooler parts of the day. Anybody been to Arizona? Visit family or something? What time does a construction crew start? Good luck sleeping in. Okay, they start like at 4 in the morning, and they're off early. But that's the only way they can build. Wear a hat when possible. Use sunscreen, and help your clothes help evaporate. Okay, sunburn. The last thing we're going to talk about with heat stress. Okay, do you guys, if you're working outside, does the county provide sunscreen for you? If not, some people are shaking their head yes. If you don't have access to it, talk to somebody because it sounds like there is access to it. Okay, sunburn is a burn. Okay, it can actually get pretty bad. And everybody knows what's the chronic result. Chronic means time and time again of sun damage. Skin cancer. Okay? Anybody here know somebody that's got skin cancer? Okay? Everybody knows somebody. So, the last thing I want to show you is kind of like the risk level. If it's less than 91 degrees, which is most days around here, it's a lower caution, just basic heat and safety planning. Still make sure there's plenty of water, not working in direct sunlight. Okay, 91 to 103, that's right around our body temperature. Okay, that's moderate. That's when you start implementing precautions to prevent heat stroke. Mandatory water breaks. Okay. Those type of things. 103 to 115. How often is it 103 to 115 around here? Very rarely. And if it is, none of us are ready to go outside and work in that. We'll get heat exhausted really quick. Okay. And greater than 115, you're going to be in some kind of an OSHA mandated program. So that's kind of real quick. That's heat related illnesses. The reason why we actually bring this up, because if someone does get heat stroke, it's life-threatening. If they don't get immediate medical, attention, they'll die. And every year across the country, you hear about athletes, but workers too die in the heat. So that's something to be aware of. Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, thanks.